I'd like to discuss emotions as I'm riding out of Ferrara and going towards Padova in Italy, part of our European tour for the summer of 2023. Emotions. I like to discuss them because I'm feeling pissed. Well, pissed is not an emotion, so I guess the first step would be to be able to identify emotions. That takes some practice, but I'd say pissed in my case right now means annoyed, irritated. I would say that what I'm feeling right now is on the anger spectrum. So if anger was when you'd start pointing at people and shouting at them and maybe slamming your fists on the table or worse, I'd be lower than that. So I'm on the anger spectrum. And if I want to work on that, if I want to know what's going on, something that's really helpful to me is called the ABC cognitive model. The ABC cognitive model basically states, and I really like this one because it's kind of tried and tested, scientifically proven. It's been around for a while, and I find that it really works if you have a more rationally inclined side. If you lean in that direction towards explaining things rationally, I find that this one really helps. So ABC stands for activating event, belief, and consequences. And the theory is quite simple. And I'm going to start with an example. If I'm feeling angry right now, what triggered that? Why is that? Well, I for sure used to reply that it's because of X event or multiple events. That's how I justified my anger. That's how I understood it. That's how I framed it. And not just my anger, but pretty much any emotion, strong emotion that I would feel. So I would say in this case, I'm angry because my navigation system isn't zooming into the correct level that I thought I set. And it became almost dangerous to navigate the city back there because I couldn't see far enough ahead. I would have called that my trigger, my event, my reason for being angry. I would have said it's the damn app. Or maybe I would have said it's Ada. She's not riding fast enough and I have to keep braking and checking my rear view mirrors because she's doing 80 and 90 kilometers per hour areas. I would have said that it's her fault. That's a very common way to describe this. Well, that's a way to put the event, sort of outside of yourself and say that that's the trigger. Well, the ABC cognitive model basically states that that's not true because people will have different emotions based on the same event, right? Multiple people witnessing the same type of event, like getting cut off in traffic, will have different reactions. It is not written anywhere that you have to get angry or that most people get angry or anything like that. Some people will get angry. Some people will feel maybe fear when they're being cut off. Some people maybe won't feel a particular emotion associated with that event. Maybe they can just ignore that event. So it's not the event that is causing my emotion. My anger in this case is not caused by Ada or my phone app. In the ABC model, the A is the activating event. It's the app behaving differently than what I expect. It's Ada riding at a certain speed that feels comfortable for her, right? That's the activating event. Well, that doesn't trigger the emotion. That triggers a thought or a belief. That triggers the B. I have a belief that in turn triggers the emotion. But in this case, if I had to put my finger on like the main thought, it would be you're not supposed to be doing 80 in a 90 kilometer area. This app is shit and it shouldn't be that. I don't know why I believe that, but that's, I guess, my belief. Or maybe it's a thought like, I should have known better. I should have done better in setting the app, in testing the app, in preparing for this ride today. I should have adjusted the settings. I should have tested and retested the settings. It's my fault. That's another thought. It's my fault that the app is in dark mode and I can barely see what's going on screen because I didn't set it properly. It's my fault that I didn't test the app enough. These are all thoughts or beliefs. Now, it's these beliefs that actually trigger the emotion. See, it doesn't go A to C, which is consequences, activating event to consequences. It goes A to B, belief, to C, consequences. And the consequences, it's a group of things here, but it's comprised of physiological consequences, like maybe an elevated heart rate, maybe there's a knot in my stomach, maybe I have difficulty breathing, because there's like maybe an adrenaline surge, maybe some other type of hormone is being released, maybe I tighten up, right? It's physiological body responses. It's emotions, our main topic for today, and it's behaviors, the things I do and say, the actions, right? Those are the consequences. But they are not consequences of what occurred. They are not consequences of what happened. They are not consequences of what someone did or said. They are not consequences of the situation, of the context I'm in. They are consequences of the beliefs I have about that event, situation, person. It's how I believe things should have been. It's how I believe I should have acted. It's my expectations, if you will, that actually trigger the emotions. This is important to understand. This ABC chain is important to understand, because what I did not realize for the longest time is that you don't necessarily need to adjust your event, your situation, to adjust your emotion, the way you're feeling. You can adjust the thought you're having, and the emotion gets adjusted in response, which is really, really, really interesting. To summarize, in my case right now, I'm being triggered by the way Ada is writing, or by the way the app is behaving. I have a belief that things should be different than they are, or that I should have done something differently. And that creates an emotion of anger and other responses, other consequences. This emotion of anger is not the only consequence. I kind of accelerated a bit too abruptly earlier at a stoplight because I was angry. I might snap at Ada if she stops at a traffic light near me, and I might say something, in response. What I would say is in response to her writing, but it's not. It's a consequence of my beliefs. You should have done differently. You should be riding faster. It's a 90-mile area. Why aren't you doing 90 at least? Right? Those are behaviors. That's the ABC model in a nutshell. It's a tool that I love and that I use to manage emotions. Because the second you identify the emotion and you understand that it's not Ada, it's not the app, well, I'm not going to slam the phone. I'm not going to blame Ada. I'm not going to yell at her, hopefully. I'm not going to do any of those things because I understand that the way I'm feeling, this anger that I'm feeling, is not caused by these events and by these people, right? It's caused by my thoughts. So my first go-to action is to adjust the thoughts. And I can do that. It takes practice, but I can do that now. It does take practice. I can ask questions about the thoughts. I can challenge the thoughts. I can debate the thoughts. Should she be writing at 90 or 100? Should she? Is that something that's, I don't know, mandatory to do? Is that something that's really important? We can't have it any other way? Well, I guess not. We're not in a hurry. Nothing really depends on it. It's not that bad. Nothing's going to happen if she does 80 in a 90 kilometer area. Should this app be behaving differently? That's kind of irrational. It's an app. Should I have done my due diligence last night before see, because I've been working on this, I can easily blow her a kiss back. But that might have been different had I been still angry, but I'm not. But yeah, you can challenge the thought, debate the thought. Well, it's not easy, but it's at least the steps are easy enough to understand. You challenge it by asking a couple of questions. Is it true? Is that thought really true? Do you have proof? Do you have proof? Are you 100% sure that it's true? It's that way? Or it shouldn't be that way, or it should be another way? You can ask, is it rational, this thought? Is it rational? Is it rational for me to think this way? Or logical? And if the answers to these questions are still yes, it's true, yes, I have proof, yes, it is rational and logical of me to think this way, the answers are usually not yes to these three questions when you start challenging them. But if you get to this point, you can even ask, how does this help me? Have a more pragmatic view of the situation. How does this thought actually help me in any way? Does it help me in any way? These are the ways to challenge or debate the original thought. And you'll find that the mental energy that you put into that thought kind of goes away. You cannot erase a thought, but they can be debated, they can be challenged, they can be weakened. And you'll find, as an effect, that the emotion, the negative emotion, is being diminished as an immediate result of having challenged the thought. In my case, it was simple enough. I didn't even have to go very far with the chain of questions. It was, should this app be behaving differently? No, it's an app. Should I have done more due diligence last night? No, I'm usually very prepared. I'm actually over controlling when it comes to these things. And no, I shouldn't expect that I should have done more. That's a silly way of thinking, because I usually do too much in preparation for these trips. So no, that's not a healthy, functional, rational type of thought for me. Should Ada be writing differently? I could say maybe. I could answer the question at first yes, but then do you have actual proof that she must be writing? That's very difficult to answer with a yes. And then these thoughts, they weaken. You realize, I don't want the regret of not having done something last night more to prepare. I don't want the regret of saying something stupid later on and to Ada, and feeling guilty or ashamed of that. So we're good. I'm just gonna, I've debated the thoughts I was having, and I am quite happy with the resulting emotion, which is, I don't know what to call it, but it's definitely not anger anymore. It just went away. Obviously, talking to you right now helps, because I'm putting my mind through this process that I'm explaining to you as I'm explaining it, right? You can't be angry and explain these things at the same time, I guess. Or maybe you could be if those types of thoughts keep popping up, because it's a loop. This is not like a clear cut, very easy to isolate ABC type of chain. It's not like a big ass diagram that you can draw on a blackboard and that's it. A goes to B goes to C. No. It's just that emotions are triggered by thoughts, and then those emotions, the C's, they do trigger other thoughts. Of course, they trigger more B's, which in turn trigger other consequences. Maybe you get more angry, maybe you slam your fist, maybe, you know, your heart rate goes up. That's a physiological consequence. You curse someone. That's a behavioral consequence. And then you have a new thought. I shouldn't have done that. Maybe you instantly regret it. Or maybe you have a thought like, I need to punish this guy. He deserves punishment. He shouldn't have done that. There's another chain and another chain, and it's a constant loop. I'm only isolating it here in this form to help myself diminish the emotion I was feeling, and to help you understand this little part of it. But of course, our brains never stop working, so this loop happens over and over and over and over and over again all the time. But when you start pulling apart these bits, when you start looking at the parts like that and isolating them or maybe labeling them, that starts to help. There's a saying, I don't know where it comes from, you name it, you tame it. And it has to do with emotions or behaviors or thoughts. You name it, you tame it. The moment you realize that it's a dysfunctional type of thought, it helps. The moment you realize that it's anger and not something else, it helps. The moment you realize what a certain behavior is, what it means to you and those around you, it helps. That's the start of the process. You name it, you tame it. So maybe I've helped you name some things by using the ABC model as an example, by talking to you about activating events, beliefs, and consequences. Maybe this helps. That would be really cool if it did. It did help me. That was what I wanted to say for today. That's a lot. I don't know how much editing I'm gonna have to do to cut out the parts where I just went rambling on about stuff. But I really hope this helps someone out there, because it really helped me a lot when I learned about it and then when I started applying it. The ABC cognitive model.